All right, welcome back for another deep dive. And today we're tackling something everyone's got an opinion on, right? Food.
Oh, yeah. It's universal.
It really is. And judging by the sources we're looking at today, our listener is really, really into food too. We've got everything from basic food groups to uh, global food facts to even some stuff about how to write a recipe.
It's a really interesting mix. Almost like someone's planning a culinary adventure, maybe even putting together their own cookbook or something.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, we've even got some stuff about Come Dine With Me, that show.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not just about eating. It's about the whole experience of food and cooking.
The culture of it all. I like that.
Exactly. Okay, so speaking of food, one of the facts that jumped out at me is that Hawaii produces a third of the world's pineapples.
Whoa. That's a lot of pineapples.
Right. Like when you think of pineapples, you think of Hawaii, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
So it's interesting how a place can become so connected to a specific food, almost like a brand.
It is. And, it makes you think about, the journey of food, right? Because pineapples aren't even native to Hawaii.
Oh, really?
No, they were brought over from South America. So it's like this amazing story of how something can travel across the globe and become such a symbol of a place.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on from pineapples, one of the other things we have here is a list of the 5 food groups, which, kind of makes sense if you're thinking about planning menus and stuff, right?
Absolutely. The building blocks of a healthy diet, right?
Exactly. But it's more than just checking boxes, isn't it?
Right. And it's interesting how those ideas have changed over time, too. What's considered a balanced diet can be different depending on where you are in the world and even new scientific discoveries and stuff.
That's true. It's always evolving.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about that whole Come Dine With Me thing.
Yeah.
Because, that show's all about putting together a menu and creating an experience, right?
Absolutely. And it's about the social side of food, too, like how it brings people together.
Totally.
Yeah.
And one of our sources even talks about the accompaniment, like what you serve with your dishes.
Yeah. The supporting players.
Exactly. And it's interesting to think about how those choices can, elevate the whole experience. Like choosing a perfect wine pairing or a side dish that complements the flavors of the main course.
Definitely. And it connects to the idea of target audience, too, which is mentioned in one of the sources. Who are you cooking for? What are they like? Any dietary needs to consider.
Right. Like a chef designing a menu for a specific crowd, you might make different choices for a, say, health-conscious group than you would for a family gathering.
For sure. It's like speaking different food languages.
Oh, I like that. Food languages. Okay, well, speaking of language, one of the things that's mentioned here is the use of imperative verbs in cooking instructions.
Yes. The bossy verb.
Yes. So why are these verbs so important when it comes to recipes?
Well, they're all about clarity and precision, right? Like chop versus dice versus mince. They all mean slightly different things, and those differences matter when you're cooking.
Right. It's like they're giving you direct orders in the kitchen. And that can be really helpful for a home cook, right?
Definitely. Takes the guesswork out of it.
Okay, so moving on from the how of cooking, we've also got some stuff here about the where. Specifically, terms like farm and reared are popping up.
Right. And that suggests an interest in the origins of our food, doesn't it? Like, where does it come from? How is it produced?
Yeah. Like, is the listener thinking about things like sustainability or ethical farming practices?
Possibly. Maybe they're concerned about animal welfare or the environmental impact of their food choices.
So it's not just about what you eat, but also about the whole system that brings it to your plate.
Exactly. It's about making conscious choices and understanding the story behind your food.
I like that. Okay, so to wrap things up, I think we've got a great challenge for our listener today based on everything we've discussed.
I agree. What if you were to create a dish that represents you? Your background, your interests, your values.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
What ingredients would you choose? What techniques would you use?
What would the story of your dish be?
That's a great question to ponder. And I'd love to hear what you all come up with. So keep exploring, keep experimenting in the kitchen, and most importantly, keep enjoying the journey of food.
Bon appétit.
Bon appétit.